Welcome to Beyond the Fame. Today, we dive into the life of Vivien Leigh, one of the most captivating actresses of all time. From the dazzling Southern belle, Scarlett O'Hara, to the tragic and fragile Blanche DuBois, Leigh's performances left an indelible mark on cinema. But behind the glittering surface of her career lay personal struggles and tragedy, casting a shadow over her remarkable achievements. In this episode, we'll explore how Leigh's life and career were intertwined with both triumph and heartbreak, her complicated relationship with Laurence Olivier, and the lasting influence she has had on Hollywood. Vivien Leigh's acting journey began in London's theatre scene, where she quickly built a reputation for her grace and intensity. But it wasn't long before her beauty and talent caught the attention of Hollywood producers, setting the stage for her rise to international fame. Vivien Leigh's portrayal of Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind, 1939, is widely regarded as one of the most iconic performances in cinema history. Securing the coveted role of Scarlett was no easy feat. Over 1,400 actresses were considered, including Hollywood royalty such as Bette Davis, Katharine Hepburn, and Joan Bennett. However, it was Leigh, a relative unknown at the time in America, who ultimately embodied the fiery, ambitious Southern belle. Her performance not only earned her the Academy Award for Best Actress, but also catapulted her into Hollywood immortality, setting the gold standard for female leads in classic cinema. At the heart of Gone with the Wind is Scarlett O'Hara, a woman who is both captivating and deeply flawed. Scarlett is vain, selfish, and manipulative, yet she is also resourceful, determined, and fiercely independent. This duality makes her one of the most complex characters in film history, and it was Leigh's ability to capture these contradictions that made her performance so extraordinary. Leigh didn't just play Scarlett, she became her. Every flutter of her eyelashes, every dismissive glance, and every emotional outburst felt authentic. She seamlessly embodied Scarlett's transformation from a privileged, flirtatious Southern belle to a survivor hardened by war and loss. Her performance revealed the many layers of Scarlett, the fragile young woman yearning for love, the cunning strategist willing to manipulate those around her, and the resilient fighter who, despite her flaws, remains unbreakable in the face of adversity. Vivien Leigh's performance went beyond just embodying Scarlett's vanity and determination. She brought emotional nuance to the character, making her sympathetic despite her selfishness. Scarlett's unrequited love for Ashley Wilkes and her complicated relationship with Rhett Butler were given depth by Leigh's ability to express subtle shifts in emotion, from longing and jealousy to despair and hope. In moments of emotional vulnerability, such as when Scarlett confesses her fear of losing everything or begs Rhett not to leave, Leigh displayed a fragility that added humanity to a character who could easily have been dismissed as irredeemable. This ability to make audiences empathize with Scarlett, even at her worst, showcased Leigh's extraordinary range as an actress. Film critic Roger Ebert later noted, "It was Vivien Leigh's gift to make Scarlett O'Hara likable, even when she was behaving abominably. You don't condone her actions, but you can't help admiring her spirit." Leigh's physical commitment to the role was equally impressive. The grueling, 6-month-long shoot required her to endure extreme working conditions, including night shoots, endless costume changes, and emotionally taxing scenes. Director Victor Fleming later said that Leigh had one of the most disciplined work ethics he had ever encountered, often insisting on multiple takes until she was satisfied with her performance. Leigh's portrayal of Scarlett O'Hara earned her the Academy Award for Best Actress in 1940. The win was significant, not only because it acknowledged her incredible talent, but also because it marked the triumph of a British actress in a quintessentially American film. At a time when most Oscar winners were American-born stars, Leigh's win symbolized the global reach of Hollywood and set the stage for other international actors to make their mark. The competition for the 1940 Oscars was intense, with Leigh going up against notable actresses such as Greta Garbo for Ninotchka and Bette Davis for Dark Victory. However, Leigh's performance in Gone with the Wind was considered unparalleled. Critics and audiences alike agreed that she had delivered one of the most transformative and powerful performances ever seen on screen. The Academy couldn't overlook the impact she had made. Securing the role of Scarlett was only the beginning of Leigh's challenges. The production of Gone with the Wind was notoriously chaotic, with director George Cukor being replaced by Victor Fleming mid-shoot. Leigh had been close to Cukor, and his departure unsettled her. However, she remained professional, working tirelessly under Fleming's demanding direction. She later confessed that playing Scarlett for months on end was emotionally draining, but she was determined to bring the character to life as authentically as possible. "Every day was a battle," Leigh later admitted in an interview. "Scarlett was exhausting, mentally, physically, emotionally, but I knew I had to see it through. I owed it to her." The pressure to deliver a perfect performance weighed heavily on Leigh, but the critical acclaim and Oscar win validated all the hard work and personal sacrifices she had made. Leigh's portrayal of Scarlett O'Hara set a new standard for female leads in classic Hollywood cinema. It proved that female characters could be just as complex, flawed, and fascinating as their male counterparts. Scarlett was no damsel in distress. She was a force of nature who shaped her own destiny, and Leigh's performance captured that essence perfectly. Her Oscar win also shattered some of the barriers between British and American cinema, paving the way for more international actors to gain recognition in Hollywood. Moreover, Leigh's success in Gone with the Wind demonstrated that actresses could carry large-scale, epic films, a lesson that would influence future filmmakers and studios. Vivien Leigh's performance in Gone with the Wind remains a cinematic masterpiece to this day. It not only earned her an Oscar, but also cemented her status as one of the greatest actresses of all time. Her ability to bring complexity and depth to Scarlett O'Hara elevated the film to legendary status. Even now, Leigh's portrayal continues to resonate with audiences, reminding us that great performances transcend time. Her Oscar win was more than just an acknowledgement of her talent. It was a recognition of her ability to capture the contradictions of human nature and make them unforgettable on screen. For fans of classic cinema, Vivien Leigh's Scarlett O'Hara will always remain a benchmark of what it means to truly embody a character. Following her success in Gone with the Wind, Vivien Leigh continued to showcase her versatility with powerful performances in films like Waterloo Bridge, 1940, and That Hamilton Woman, 1941. In Waterloo Bridge, she portrayed a tragic ballerina whose love story unfolds against the backdrop of World War I, demonstrating her ability to blend romantic tenderness with emotional depth. Meanwhile, in That Hamilton Woman, Leigh starred opposite her husband, Laurence Olivier, playing the infamous Emma Hamilton in a sweeping historical drama. Both films highlighted Leigh's talent for balancing grace, vulnerability, and strength, further cementing her status as one of classic Hollywood's most gifted actresses. Vivien Leigh's personal life was every bit as dramatic and tumultuous as the roles she portrayed on screen. In 1940, she married Laurence Olivier, and together they became known as Hollywood's golden couple. Their partnership was celebrated not just for their undeniable chemistry, but also for their remarkable work on stage and screen. The two starred in several films together, including That Hamilton Woman and Fire Over England, which showcased the power of their combined talent. They were adored by fans and often seen as the epitome of elegance and sophistication. However, their relationship was far from perfect. Beneath the glamour lay years of intense passion, jealousy, and turmoil. Olivier once described Leigh as a force of nature, acknowledging both the fierce love and emotional storms that defined their relationship. While they were deeply committed to each other, their marriage became strained by professional pressures, personal struggles, and the challenges of maintaining two demanding careers. Leigh's mental health played a significant role in the difficulties that plagued their marriage. She suffered from bipolar disorder, a condition that was poorly understood at the time. Her mood swings could be unpredictable, alternating between manic episodes where she felt invincible and crushing bouts of depression. These episodes strained her relationship with Olivier, who found it increasingly difficult to support her through the extremes. In moments of mania, Leigh was energetic and exuberant, but her depressive phases left her exhausted and emotionally fragile, which interfered with her ability to work consistently. Leigh's struggles were compounded by recurring bouts of tuberculosis, a condition she first contracted in 1944. Tuberculosis, in combination with her mental illness, left her physically and mentally weakened. During tours and productions, there were times when she would collapse from fatigue, and on some occasions, she would have to be temporarily replaced. These health crises placed further strain on her marriage to Olivier, who was juggling his own ambitions and pressures as one of the most celebrated actors of the time. Olivier tried to remain patient and supportive, but the emotional toll became overwhelming. As her behavior grew more erratic, Leigh would sometimes lash out during arguments or exhibit self-destructive tendencies, making it increasingly difficult for Olivier to cope. The couple's friends and colleagues noticed that their once passionate bond had turned into a painful struggle, with both partners torn between love and frustration. Another source of tension in their relationship was infidelity. Both Leigh and Olivier were rumored to have had affairs during their marriage. Leigh, feeling emotionally neglected during Olivier's long absences, had relationships with other men, including actor Peter Finch, with whom she shared a close and likely romantic connection. Olivier, in turn, was also involved in extramarital affairs, including a well-known relationship with actress Joan Plowright, whom he eventually married after his separation from Leigh. While their love for each other endured, the emotional and physical distance created by these infidelities pushed them further apart. The couple's public image as Hollywood's perfect pair began to unravel, exposing the challenges of maintaining such a high-profile relationship in an unforgiving industry. Olivier later admitted that their marriage became a battle between our ambitions and our emotions. In 1960, after nearly 20 years of marriage, Vivien Leigh and Laurence Olivier divorced. Although the separation was seen as inevitable, it was a heartbreaking decision for both. Olivier later reflected that the divorce, while necessary, broke both our hearts. The end of their relationship was not just the dissolution of a marriage. It marked the collapse of a partnership that had once been a source of strength and inspiration for both of them. Following the divorce, Olivier married Joan Plowright, with whom he found a sense of stability. Meanwhile, Leigh's mental health deteriorated further, leaving her isolated and struggling to rebuild her personal and professional life. Friends noted that while Leigh continued to act, her vibrant spirit seemed dimmed by the end of her marriage to Olivier. Before her relationship with Olivier, Leigh had been married to Herbert Lee Holman, a barrister. They wed in 1932 when Leigh was only 19 years old. Although Holman was 13 years her senior and opposed to her acting ambitions, Leigh pursued her passion for the stage, eventually leaving him to pursue her career. They had one daughter, Suzanne Farrington, born in 1933, but Leigh's career demands and romantic involvement with Olivier meant that her relationship with Holman quickly unraveled. Their divorce in 1940 allowed Leigh to fully immerse herself in her romance with Olivier, but it also left a complicated legacy. Her relationship with her daughter Suzanne remained distant throughout her life. Despite their separation, Holman and Leigh remained on good terms, with Holman often providing emotional support to Leigh during her later struggles. His consistent presence was one of the few stabilizing forces in her life, especially as her mental health declined. After the divorce from Olivier, Leigh never remarried, though she was romantically linked to actor Jack Merivale, who remained by her side during her later years. Merivale became Leigh's caregiver as her health worsened, showing unwavering devotion until her tragic death in 1967 at the age of 53. Leigh's death, caused by complications from tuberculosis, was a devastating loss for those close to her. Olivier, though married to Plowright by then, was said to have been deeply affected by the news of Leigh's passing, showing that their bond, despite everything, had never truly broken. Leigh's marriages were marked by love, passion, betrayal, and tragedy, reflecting the same emotional complexity she brought to her most memorable roles on screen. Her relationships, particularly with Olivier, were an integral part of her life, fueling both her creativity and her personal anguish. Though her marriages ended in heartbreak, Vivien Leigh's legacy endures through her unforgettable performances and her ability to navigate the highs and lows of life with grace, determination, and passion. Vivien Leigh's commitment to perfection was legendary, and her ability to embody complex characters came at a steep personal cost. During the production of Gone with the Wind, she demanded multiple takes for certain scenes, insisting on capturing every emotional nuance. The grueling hours, emotional intensity, and pressure to perfect the role of Scarlett O'Hara took a toll on her mental and physical health. Yet the result was one of the most iconic performances in cinema history. But her dedication to her craft didn't end there. If anything, it deepened over time, reaching new levels with her portrayal of Blanche DuBois in A Streetcar Named Desire, 1951. In A Streetcar Named Desire, Leigh took on the role of Blanche DuBois, a faded Southern belle struggling to cope with the loss of her past, financial instability, and declining mental health. Blanche hides behind fantasies of her former grandeur, clinging to illusions of beauty, sophistication, and love to shield herself from the harsh reality of her life. However, as the story unfolds, Blanche's mental state deteriorates, and the mask she wears to maintain her dignity begins to slip, leading to her eventual breakdown. Blanche's character was one of Tennessee Williams' most complex creations, requiring an actress capable of portraying both charm and emotional instability. Leigh brought this complexity to life with a layered performance that oscillated between poise and despair, arrogance and fragility. She captured Blanche's desperate attempts to maintain control over her crumbling identity, making audiences both pity and recoil from her. Leigh's portrayal gave Blanche a deeply human quality, exposing the vulnerability behind her pretensions and self-delusions. A memorable scene in the film between Leigh and Mitch, Karl Malden, in which Blanche tells him, "I don't want reality, I want magic." This line encapsulates Blanche's entire character, her relentless desire to escape reality and construct a fantasy where she is still the young, desired woman she once was. Leigh played this moment with a poignant mixture of wistfulness and denial, allowing audiences to feel both Blanche's yearning for something beautiful and her inability to confront the truth. Leigh's performance in A Streetcar Named Desire felt almost too real because, at the time, her personal life was mirroring the fragility of Blanche DuBois. Leigh was battling bipolar disorder, which caused severe mood swings and periods of depression. She also struggled with insomnia and anxiety, conditions exacerbated by the emotional demands of the role. Marlon Brando, who played Stanley Kowalski, later said that working with Leigh was both inspiring and heartbreaking, remarking, "Blanche and Vivien became indistinguishable." Brando's comment speaks to the intensity of Leigh's performance. She didn't just act as Blanche, she became her. This blurring of the line between art and reality created a performance that was deeply authentic but also emotionally taxing. Many of her co-stars admired her brilliance but were concerned about the toll it was taking on her health. Karl Malden later reflected, "Vivien was giving us a piece of her soul in every take, and it was painful to watch." Leigh's portrayal of Blanche DuBois earned her a second Academy Award for Best Actress at the 1952 Oscars, solidifying her place among the greatest actresses of all time. Her performance was praised for its emotional depth and vulnerability, with critics hailing it as one of the finest performances in film history. The New York Times wrote, "Vivien Leigh delivers a portrayal that is at once mesmerizing and harrowing. She takes Blanche beyond the page and gives her life, both terrifying and beautiful." Winning the Oscar for A Streetcar Named Desire was a bittersweet moment for Leigh. Although it was a triumphant recognition of her talent, it came at a time when her mental health was deteriorating. The emotional demands of playing Blanche had deepened her struggle with bipolar disorder, making it difficult for her to fully enjoy the victory. Leigh later confessed in interviews that the role of Blanche had been a turning point in my life, one that I never quite recovered from. Leigh's portrayal of Blanche DuBois continues to inspire generations of actors. The role itself has become a touchstone for actresses seeking to explore the depths of human vulnerability and madness. Contemporary stars such as Cate Blanchett, who played Blanche in a 2009 stage production, have cited Leigh's performance as a masterclass in emotional honesty. Blanchett once said, "Vivien Leigh didn't just play Blanche, she bared her soul. She showed us the beauty and horror of vulnerability, all in one breath." The brilliance of Leigh's performance lies in how timeless and universal it feels. Blanche's struggles with identity, mental health, and societal expectations remain relevant today, making Leigh's portrayal as powerful now as it was in 1951. For many, A Streetcar Named Desire is not just a film. It is a reminder of the fragility that exists within all of us. In A Streetcar Named Desire, Vivien Leigh gave one of the greatest performances in cinematic history. A portrayal so raw and authentic that it left an indelible mark on film. Her second Oscar win was a fitting tribute to her talent, but it also symbolized the personal cost of her dedication to her craft. The emotional toll of playing Blanche would haunt Leigh for the rest of her life, but it also immortalized her as one of Hollywood's finest actresses. Vivien Leigh's legacy extends far beyond her 2 Academy Awards. She was one of the first actresses to successfully bridge the gap between theater and film, demonstrating that true talent transcends mediums. Her performances in Gone with the Wind and A Streetcar Named Desire continue to inspire actors to this day. Vivien Leigh's story is one of triumph and tragedy, a reminder that even the brightest stars carry burdens unseen by the public. Despite her personal struggles, Leigh's commitment to her craft resulted in performances that have stood the test of time. Her influence on the world of classic cinema is undeniable, and her legacy continues to inspire new generations of actors. So what's your favorite Vivien Leigh performance? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the life of one of Hollywood's most iconic stars, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an episode of Beyond the Fame. Thanks for watching.